everyone, and welcome once again. I'm back. Yes, people, I'm back. I'm back with some really good information that I wanted to express to you. I am JT, aka the Master, and this is For No Reason Fantasy Football. Back again, ready to give you some valuable information. Today on this show, I'm going to give you a lot of information that some people may discount or some people may not, okay? The information I'm going to give you is this. I'm going to give you strength of schedule. This is all about fantasy football. Strength of schedule. The top 10 hardest strength of schedule for teams. And the bottom, the easiest schedule for teams. I'm also going to give you top offenses that were in 2024. And then I'm going to give you the top offenses of 2025 as I see them. And I'm also going to give you my rankings from 1 to 24 as I see it. Okay. You may disagree. That's fine. I've had disagreements before. That's fine. But this is how I see it. Okay? I just want to give you this information starting off in the first full weekend of July. I'm going to give you some valuable information leading up to the 2025 fantasy football season. Each and every weekend, okay? I've been away for a few weeks, maybe a month or something like that, but I'm back. I'm here, ready to get you into your fantasy playoffs. That's the key. That's the key. The main mission for me is to get you into the fantasy playoffs. Don't care what kind of record you have, just a good enough record to get you into the playoffs. Because anything can happen. And I'm a full testament to that. Anything can happen in the playoffs. You get hot, and it can carry you to a championship, just like you see down here. Okay? Doesn't make a difference if you're the worst record in the league. Doesn't make a difference if you're the best record in the league. It doesn't make a difference once you get in the playoffs because everybody's equal. I've been the worst record and won the championship. I've been the best record and not won the championship. It's all a matter of getting you into the second season in fantasy playoffs. The second season in fantasy, I should say. Okay. So let's just get this party started. And I'm going to give you, let me get over here. The first start, we'll start it this way. Okay. I'm going to show you the hardest schedule for the playoffs. I mean, not the playoff, for the season. For the 2025 season. The Giants, yes, the lonely Giants, they're a lucky team, okay, are playing against this is based on, let me put it this way, this is based on records of last year. I know quite naturally people will say, okay, that was last year. Last year was last year. But for the most part, these teams, unless they were totally dismantled, are going to be relatively the same. Things may change. Circumstances or whatever may change. Players get hurt. But as of right now, this is going to reflect the record of each team, meaning the record that the Giants have to face. Each team. The Giants have the hardest schedule. against a team that's won 57.4 a percentage, the 574. Quite naturally, you see it's the Bears and the Lions are tied for second. Philly brings it up in the fourth. You see the percentage. You see it rolling across your screen. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings all have to deal with teams that have a little more than 55% winning record. Then you have the Washington Commanders, the Baltimore Ravens, and last but not least, the top 10 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Now you see that the Lions, who have a strong offense, the Philly who has a strong offense, the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings who have a strong offense. Notice I'm leaving out the Dallas Cowboys. There's a reason for that. Okay, there's a reason for that. And the Washington Commanders, Baltimore, and I'm leaving out the Pittsburgh. There's a reason for that, and I'll get to that a little later. Okay, there's a reason for that. Okay, let's show you within the top. I mean, within the, I don't know if you want to say top, but not players, but the teams that have the easiest schedule. The teams that have the overall easiest schedule. And you'd be surprised. You're going to be surprised at some of the teams, some quality teams that have the easiest schedule. I know in the past people used to complain about the Patriots or one of those prolific teams that always, for some reason, always have an easier schedule going into the regular season, going against the competition of last year, or I should say the record of teams last year. And I would say that it is what it is. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory that some of these teams I'm going to show you have the easiest schedule. The NFL wants them to have the easiest schedule to pump up that team. I don't think so. I don't believe in the conspiracy theories in the NFL. I may be naive, but I don't believe in that. Okay? I just believe that it's lazy if you think the whatever team, the Patriots, whatever, Tom Brady and company at the time, it's always getting these easy schedules. I don't think that was done on purpose. I don't think so. I think it just happened to roll that way. But anyway, let me show you this. At number 32, we have the San Francisco 49ers go up against the teams that had less than a little more than 40% win rate. Then you have the New Orleans Saints. I know I spelled Saints wrong, but you don't understand what I'm saying. Okay? You understand what I'm saying. Then you have the New England Patriots. I just mentioned the New England Patriots. New England Patriots had a very bad record. Not very bad, but they had a bad record last season. That's why they had a high draft pick. Then quite naturally, you see Tennessee. Tennessee had a number 1 pick. They have an easy schedule. Does that benefit Cam Ward or not? Carolina. Okay. They showed signs of life near the end of the season. They have the easy schedule, playing teams that had less than 50% win rate, right along with Arizona. And then you have the New York Jets at 26. You have the Indianapolis Colts just above the Jets. The Jaguars had a bad season. You know that. They had the third pick? Yeah, they had. And then you had the Buffalo Bills. What, people are going to start saying the Buffalo Bills have a easy schedule? One of the easiest schedules in the league? Come on. Really? So conspiracy theorists are going to start talking about the Buffalo Bills. How come the Buffalo Bills have an easy schedule? Hey, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? When I get into 24 and 25 offenses, I'll let me put it this way. These bottoms teams, or I would say bottom. These teams that have the easiest schedule, pay attention to them. Pay attention to them. And I'll get to that later, but pay attention to them. Okay? Because when I get into the top offenses of the league, it's going to be very important. It's going to be important. I've said in the past, and if you've listened to me over the different shows that I've been on, regardless of what show I've been on, I said it in the past, I love this offense. I love this offense. I love this offense. I love this offense. Okay? It's not because of just one player, two players, three players. It's the overall scheme. The offensive coordinator or the coach or / offensive coordinator, head coach. The type of coaching that he's able to, and the results that he gets out of his players. Okay? Minnesota's one of those. Okay? I still love Minnesota's offense. Kevin O'Connell's one hell of a coach. Can get the best out of his quarterback. He's going with a relatively, he's more or less a rookie because he didn't play last year because he got hurt. And J.J. McCarthy. Okay? There's certain coaches, and I've said this before, and hopefully you've listened, pay attention to the coach. Pay attention to the coach, head coach, or offensive coordinator. That makes a difference. It makes a difference. Okay? And I'll get to that a little later. But it makes a difference. It's not going to be a long show, but it's going to be an informational show that you should listen to, in my opinion. It's not going to be a long show. Okay? It may go an hour, it may not. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I want to get all the information that could possibly get out to you, to the listeners, to you. Because in fantasy football, regardless of what you think, some of this, maybe not all of it, but some of this is relevant and important and can benefit you during the season. Okay? And that's one thing I want to do. I keep telling you people, all I want to do, now I may be giving away trade secrets. I may be giving away things that I'm going to apply myself in fantasy football during the season. But that's okay. It's competition. Fantasy football, I've said this before, fantasy football is skill and a lot of luck. Skill and a lot of luck. Some people say create your own luck. Okay. I can't dispute that. But all I can say is fantasy football is skill and a lot of luck. So, and you got to put the information out there, and then you have to be able to apply that information where it needs to be. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get you to do. Apply the information, or I get the information to you, and you apply it and apply it accordingly. Okay? It can win you championships. Trust me, it can win you championships. Please trust me. I'm that type of person. I'll give you information all day and every day. You may not like it. You may not agree with it, but I'll give you the information. But I guarantee you some of it, maybe not all of it, because I'm not 100% correct at all. I'm not 100%. I never profess to be 100%. High percentage, that's what I strive for. As close to 100%, that's what I strive for. May not get there, but that's what I strive for. To get you a higher percentage of win rate. That's what I strive for. Okay. Regardless of whether you're in the same league or you're in another league and you're playing against people that you don't know, it's all applicable. Trust me, it's all applicable. So let's move on, people. Let's move on. I've shown you the hardest schedule, the top 10 who had the hardest schedule. I've shown you the bottom 10, so to speak, who have the easiest schedule. Okay? So, and then I said I was going to show you the offenses. And you see how this is going to tie in together. Okay? And then at the last part, I'm going to show you the top 24 players that I like this year. Some may surprise you. Some may not. Some may have fallen from grace. Some may not. You may agree. You may not. All of it, it's all good. It's all good. Because no one has the 100% magic formula. All the procrastinators that sit out there, I don't care who you listen to, who you look at, who you take advice from, is 100%. Me included. I'm not 100%. I keep telling you that. I'm not. Okay, you can knock me when I'm wrong. No problem. I got no problem with that. Okay? There's only one perfect person that I know that's ever lived. And I'm not that guy. Or person, I should say. I'm not that person. Everyone else is speculating. I take the best information I can get and try to relay it to you in a condensed manner. And then you take what you will from it, whether you agree with it, whether you don't, whether you want to dismiss it or you want to pull it in and make use of it. It's fine. It's fine. But don't knock me when I'm wrong, because I'm human. I'm only human. Okay? And anybody that knocks you when you're wrong, okay, you're wrong. You never professed to be perfect. You gave your opinion. If your opinion is mostly right, okay, if it's mostly right, why are you dwelling on a negative? You don't dwell on a negative. You know, this guy is 60%, 50%, 70% correct. You're going to dwell on the 30% or the 40%? I'm giving you positive, I'm giving you the best information I can possibly get. From all different sources, including myself and my feel for things, including myself. Dwell on the positive, not the negative. All right, let's go on to, I want to go on to the top offenses that were last year. The top offenses that were last year. And as you see them right here, these are the top 10 offenses of the 2024 season. At number 10 was the LA Chargers. Okay? At number 10 was the LA Chargers. At number 9 was the Minnesota Vikings. At number 8 was the Cincinnati Bengals, who's averaged 26.4 points a game. Number 7, Green Bay Packers, a little bit better, 26.6 points a game. And a little tick above that was the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they won the Super Bowl. Okay. They weren't the most prolific offense, but they were within the top 10. Washington Commanders. That may surprise a few people. Washington Commanders, 28.1. Okay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield and company. Okay. I know I'm not Baker Mayfield. And to me, rightfully so. Until he landed in a perfect situation for him and his skill set, Baker Mayfield pretty much was struggling. Okay. But now he's flourishing in Tampa Bay. And last year, 28.6 points per game. Pretty damn good. At number 3, everybody knows the Baltimore Ravens can score points, 29.3 points. At number 3, number 2 was the MVP of the league, led Buffalo Bills at 29.5. Some people wanted Lamar Jackson to win the MVP. Buffalo, 29.5 points per game. And at the top of the 2024 offenses was the Detroit Lions. 32.4, even though they fizzled out near the end of the season, 32.4 points per game in the regular season. How much is that going to affect the move of Aaron Glenn and more so Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions? That was 2024. Okay. How about 2025? How about 2025 in the top 10 offenses of 2025? Okay. Is anyone interested in that? Do you really want to see that? Or I think you want to see that. Because it's definitely fantasy relevant that you want to see it. How about this, people? The Buffalo Bills have one of the easiest schedules going into the 2025 regular season. And believe it or not, once I start showing you this this list of top 10 2025 offenses, here we go. The Buffalo Bills, after setting a number of franchise records in 2024, the offense is essentially unchanged heading into this year. The coaches on that side of the ball are the same, highlighted by rising young coordinator Joe Brady and O-line maven Aaron Cromer. Personnel-wise, the Bills returned 15 of their top 16 players in offensive snaps from last season. The only one they lost was Mac Hollins. And Hollins totaled 482 receiving yards in okay. Now, the Buffalo Bills have the reigning MVP, and the quarterback is protected by one of the best offensive lines in football. A group that has allowed the fewest sacks in the league each of the past 2 seasons. Now they got a Pro Bowl back in James Cook and freshly paid receiver in Khalil Shakir. Still leaves something to be desired, but I think Keon Coleman is going to grow a little bit. And third-year tight end Dalton Kincaid. Now, to be honest with you, the 6'5", 237-pound Josh Allen has the ability to operate as a one-man army, making NFL men look like boys in his wake. The 2024 Bills scored at least 30 points in 12 of their 17 regular season games, hitting that mark 8 straight times from mid-October to mid-December. I view this team as a well-oiled machine to consistently light up the scoreboards once again. Okay? You see that at number 2. Yes, people, I got number 2. And believe it or not, this quarterback I see as a dark horse for the league MVP. Now, to me, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, look at the supporting cast around Baker Mayfield. It starts up front when one of the premier offensive lines in the game. First-team All-Pro left tackle Tristan Wirth is the headliner, but this could be the best starting 5 this side of Philly. The receiver room is loaded with talent, young and old, with veteran wideout Chris Godwin working his way back from a season-end ankle injury. Jason Licht just spent his first-round pick on Emeka Egbuka, who happens to offer a Godwin-like skill set. Bucky Irvin was a revelation last year, the top rookie running back, and one of the most exhilarating newbies in the entire draft class, while Rashad White and Sean Tucker provide a solid backfield depth. To me, it's all there for Baker Mayfield, who just tied for second in the NFL in touchdown passes with 41, while finishing third in passing yards. He had 4,500 yards, and completion percentage, he had 71.4, and he enjoyed an even better season, and I expect him to enjoy an even better season this season. The potential fly in the ointment is that his offensive coordinator went to become coach in the Jaguars. But on the plus side, the new play caller isn't a new face, as Josh Grizzard was internally promoted after serving as Tampa Bay's pass game coordinator last season. Not to mention, this is nothing new to Baker, who will be playing under his 5th offensive coordinator in as many seasons. So it's not like he hasn't seen this before, okay? It's not like he hasn't seen this before. Number 3. Who we got number 3 sitting here? The Baltimore Ravens, okay? Last offseason, to me, I was worried about Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry would fit together in the same offense because they both like to run the freaking ball. Would that hurt Derrick Henry? Or would that hurt Lamar to have to hand off? But to me, that wasn't necessary. The concern was unnecessary. Jackson really won his 3rd MVP, with his best statistical season yet, while Henry averaged a career-high 5.9 yards per carry en route to 1,921 yards and 16 rushing touchdowns. And I'll admit this, I was wrong about Derrick Henry. Okay? I was wrong about Derrick Henry. I'll admit that. No problem. Okay? But he doesn't have too many seasons left. If this could be the tipping point. He'd be 32 this year. 32-year-old running back on a running team. Baltimore likes to run the football I think they ran the football the most, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it between Baltimore and Philly? I'm trying to think who ran the ball more. It's irrelevant. They were one of the top 5 teams running the football. Perhaps I should have known 2 of the most dynamic players of a generation will make sweet music together. They don't reach such heights, though, without inspired work from the big boys on the offensive line. Forced to replace 3 starters last season, Baltimore's offensive line got off to a slow start. But the unit just got better and better as the season progressed, with 4 of the 5 starters coming back, except for Andrew Voorhees. Andrew Voorhees, who's going to take up the slack for Patrick McCarry's departure in free agency. The biggest question might be whether Ronnie Stanley can stay healthy. He's always getting banged up. In the contract season, the left tackle didn't miss a game for the first time in his 9-year career, making his second Pro Bowl and receiving a 3-year, $60 million extension in March. The passing game remains strong with Zay Flowers leading receivers and Isaiah Likely probably poised to overtake Mark Andrews as the team's top tight end. Todd Monken has spectacularly reinvigorated the Ravens offense in his first 2 years on the job, but the coordinator still sees plenty of room for improvement, even with his super star quarterback. He said, quotes, he says, I just think he's just scratching the surface. We're talking about Lamar Jackson. I think he can. I said last season, I thought he should be the top pick. I thought last year he should be the top pick. I still feel that way. I thought, I really like Jaden Daniels. Don't care what team he landed on. Fortunately for Washington Commanders fans, he landed on Washington. But Washington can't massively guard against it. Obviously, Washington can't guard against a regression or a step back. The team is pressing its health luck with off-injured Deebo Samuel, but the Commanders did work to fortify their offensive line this offseason. The big ticket move was acquiring C.J. Stroud, blindside protector of the last 2 years, was Laramie Tunsil. The trade sent the shockwave through the league, leading to plenty of speculation as to why the left tackle fell out of favor in Houston. God knows why, but it's benefiting. Hopefully, it benefits Washington. Tunsil just made his 5th Pro Bowl in the past 6 seasons, posting Pro Football Focus 4th highest pass blocking grade among offensive tackles. He's still just 30 years old. He should have plenty left in the tank. And beyond him, Washington O-line looks deeper and more talented than the group Houston rolled out last fall. His first-round pick, Josh Connolly Jr., proves to be a quick learner. This unit could really take off. What's more, Daniel seems to be more in sync with this offensive coordinator than T.J. Stroud was with Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Texans. And I'll say this lastly, Jaden boasts something that C.J. Stroud doesn't have: electric running ability. When all else fails, that's the kind of trump card that can help a young quarterback stay on schedule. Okay? So besides passing the football, effectively. The Washington Commanders have a quarterback that can run the football. Now let's get to number 5. Okay, number 5 easily led the league in offensive scoring last season, meaning Detroit, averaging nearly 3 whole points more than the next best attack, which was Buffalo. So what's with the number 5 ranking here? Well, the Lions suffered significant attrition on both sides, and we talked about this before. I talked about briefly before losing Ben Johnson, who composed the top 5 scoring offense in each of his 3 years as a coordinator, and he finally got a head coaching job with Chicago. The offensive line, which has been Detroit's calling card during this come up, lost right guard Kevin Zeitler to free agency and center Frank Ragnow to retirement. Yeah. That center to me is key, more of a key than the right guard. Suddenly, the unit's interior is in flux, which is quite worrying for offense that loves to pound the football. Fortunately for new coordinator John Morton, still has plenty of talent at his disposal. Jared Goff just threw a career-best 37 touchdown passes en route to his 4th Pro Bowl, furthering one of the best league's comeback stories. Also, in addition to having one of the best tackle combos in the league today, Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker, the Lions boast a first-team All-Pro receiver, quite naturally, in Amon-Ra St. Brown, another 1,000-yard wideout with eye-popping speed, Jamison Williams, and a mismatched tight end, Sam Laporta. Not to mention a bruising back for the nose for the end zone in David Montgomery, and a hell of a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay? Hell of a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs. So, in my opinion, the Detroit Lions are poised to be one of the best offensive in the league. Okay? At number 6 is the Denver Broncos. Now, they had Bo Nix, and he was the 12th pick in the 2024 draft. And a lot of people think Sean Payton forced the issue in trying to get the Bo Nix. Nix's first 4 games, a 60.1 completion percentage, 165 yards passing, 4.8 yards per attempt, and a 1 to 4 touchdown interception ratio, which gave him a 62.5 passer rating. During that opening month, Denver's offense averaged a 14.5 points per game, tied for the 29th in NFL. But after the calendar turned to October, the Broncos turned it up, averaging a healthy 25.2 points per game for the remainder of the regular season, ranking 9th in that span. And yes, Bo Nix spearheaded the attack with an outstanding about-face. 68.3 completion percentage, 239 passing yards, 7.1 yards per attempt, a 28-8 touchdown to interception ratio, and a crazy 103.2 passer rating. Now, quite naturally, Denver was blown out by Buffalo in the playoffs, but Bo Nix didn't look out a place in the coming season. I expect him to pick up where he left off. The Broncos return all 5 starters from an offensive line that played at an elite level last season. And what do you know? Peyton made another early draft pick that has some folks calling reach. But don't count me on these questioning second-round selections. Second-round selection, R.J. Harvey. I'm a big fan of R.J. Harvey. Shifty back. He's compact with supreme contact balance. With Denver signing J.K. Robbins this week, Peyton's assembling a kind of multifaceted backfield that served him well in New Orleans. Okay? At number 6. Number 6. At number 7. I'm sorry, at number 7. Now, I know this is the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning champs. And this could be low for the reigning champ, who featured the best offensive line in football, a 2,000-yard rusher, and one of the top receiving duos in the game today. But I'm still not entirely sure what to think of Jalen Hurts. Not that he's bad, obviously. The guy just won the MVP for the Super Bowl, okay? And probably deserved that honor in the Super Bowl that Philly lost against the Pat Mahomes and company. But how good is he? Last season, including the playoffs, he eclipsed 300 yards passing in only one game. And while he provides definitely a big-time value as a runner, particularly because they kept it in, the tush push, Hurts doesn't really take over games with his legs. All in all, the past 2 seasons just haven't matched the individual output he produced under Shane Steichen in his MVP runner-up campaign of 2022. In related news, he now has the 3rd offensive coordinator in as many years, with former passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo promoted to the post after Kellen Moore took the job in New Orleans. Heading into his 5th season as a full-time starter, the 27-year-old, soon to be 27, could take a significant step forward. If he does, the offense will follow suit. And tell you the truth, if I said whatever I said about Jalen Hurts, I may look stupid, which is fine. I looked stupid before, no big deal. At number 8, there's a lot to like about the Green Bay Packers with the man who runs it. Matt LaFleur still somehow feels underrated as a head coach and offensive architect. I love this quarterback, so to speak. I love this quarterback. Liked him last year, love him again. Meanwhile, the line is deep and diverse. The receiving core lacks an established wide receiver, but first-round pick, the Green Bay Packers, for years, people, never picked a wide receiver that they could have easily picked in the first round. They've always went 2nd, 3rd, and on to pick a wide receiver, decided to pick a wide receiver this year. What's that tell you? But Matthew Golden joins a bunch load of playmakers with varying sizes and playing styles. And Josh Jacobs has proven to be exactly the kind of physical bell cow Green Bay desires, rushing for 1,329 yards and 15 tackles, 15 touchdowns in his first season with Green Bay. Now, will Love get off to a slow start after taking the reins from Aaron Rodgers in 2023? But he finished the regular season on an absolute heater. 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, touchdown interception ratio in the final 8 weeks before cooking the Cowboys in Dallas on Wild Card Weekend. Unfortunately, he injured his knee in the season opener in Brazil, sidelined for a couple of weeks. Upon return, he never seemed to fully get his groove back, suffering additional health issues and ultimately finishing the campaign with a 3-pick meltdown in a wild card loss at Philadelphia. What kind of love will we get in 2025? He has the arm talent. People, I love this guy. He has the arm talent and the confidence to drop bombs and make this prediction for Green Bay's offense look conservative. I think they may be even better than at number 8. But the sample size is small, and and you got to proceed with caution. But I like this offense. I didn't say I love this offense. I love the quarterback. I like this offense. Okay, I think this offense is headed in the right direction, and their schedule, for the most part. Let me see what Green Bay's overall schedule is. They are, like I said, they're tied for 5 for the toughest schedule this season. Okay, at number 9. Number 9 in 2024, the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow led all passers in yards. He had almost 5,000 yards, 4,918 in touchdowns. He had 43. And Jamar Chase won the receiving triple crown, and T. Higgins scored 10 touchdowns in 12 games to further his case as the league's top wide receiver too. With both receivers signing 9-figure extensions in March, Cincinnati has an enviable star power to fuel their aerial attack for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, this offense has serious questions when it comes to the meat and potatoes. Some people like Chase Brown in this offense. Okay. Who does he have behind him? Not much. So Chase Brown's pretty much going to be the bell cow. But I'm not a big Chase Brown fan. I could be mistaken, but I'm not a big Chase Brown fan. With Cincinnati fielding the most suspect line of any team on this list, Orlando Brown leads the group. Orlando Brown Jr. leads the group, but the left tackle is coming off an injury-abbreviated campaign. Second-year tackle Amarius Mims remains a work in progress, which isn't surprising for a guy who just started 8 games in college. Now we got an interior center who's a solid player, but the Bengals continues to cycle through guards, seeking a combo that sticks. Burrow does his best to mitigate protection issues, processing at a supercomputer speed and swiftly getting sacked, getting pressure. Really, you have to think that they're eventually going to do something to fix this. Okay, you got to think they're going to eventually do something to fix Cincinnati woes. But they have a prolific offense, and you can't leave them out. On the final, as you see, can't leave them out. I can't leave them out, even though there was a lot of teams that were in consideration to be in the final slot. Both LA teams could have been there. The Bears, the Falcons. But all weighing, all viable options at 10, I have to say this. I can't say I have to leave this team out. I'm betting on Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. Despite making the Super Bowl in each of the past 2 seasons, I know people are going to say, well, you said they were 12th. Why are they 10th? I'm going to say that the Chiefs ranked 12th in offensive points per game in 2024 and 14th in 2023. That's a big departure from the first 5 years of Reid Holmes, when Kansas City ranked first twice and never finished lower than 7th. Everyone knows the main culprit for this downswing, an offensive line that sprung holes, especially on the edge. Consequently, Brett Veach aggressively targeted tackles in free agency, giving Trent Williams understudy Jalen Moore a 2-year, $30 million deal. In the 2025 NFL draft, spending the first round on Josh Sims. Now, you got to think, is that enough to fully patch up the problem? Maybe yes, maybe no. But I trust Reed and Mahomes to put more points on the board this fall. One way or the other, or another, especially given cleaner bills of health from running back Isaiah Pacheco and wide receivers Rashee Rice, which he was in there a lot, and Hollywood Brown. You got these guys back healthy. You think they're going to score more points. Okay? You think they're going to score more points. I got to believe that. I got to believe that they're going to score more points. All right, people. My list of players, and I'm going to give you an added bonus. I did this last time when I gave you a ranking of players. Okay. I also gave you a strength of schedule for each player. 1 being the worst, 2 is a little better, quite naturally, 3 is average, 4 is above average, and 5 is excellent. Okay? So when I get into this, and when I show you the players, there's a reason that this guy is 1. This guy is 2. This guy is 3. Okay? I'm looking at the list right now. And nobody on this list, all the way down to 24, is less than 3. It's less than 2, I should say. 2 is a little below average. But they're in a type of offense that can overcome that 2. Okay? 2 is below average. 3 is average. 4 is above average. There's nobody that gets a 5. There's a few backs that get a 4. A lot of wide receivers that get a 3, and there's only 1 or 2 wide receivers that there's only 1 receiver that gets a 4. No, 2 receivers that gets a 4. And I'm going to tell you right now. Well, as we go through this list, you'll see. Okay. At number 1, and let me just push this out here, show you that list. With strength of schedule, Jamar Chase is sitting at number 3. Okay. It might not be realistic for Chase to match the 2024 season when he had 127 catches for 1,708 yards and 17 touchdowns. But he's been a high-end wide receiver 1 since 2021 and got a solid bond with his college teammate and now a pro teammate, Joe Burrow, at throwing the football. Okay. At number 2, I like this kid a lot. Bijan Robinson. At number 2, with 4 stars. 4 stars. Free from rookie play caller Arthur Smith. Bijan Robinson thrived in his second NFL season under new Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. He came over from L.A. and you just knew that he was going to thrive. He piled up 1,887 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns. This kid is talented and just getting started. At 23 years old, I think he deserved to be the first running back off the board in 2025. That's how I feel. And number 4, as you see it, Justin Jefferson. Okay. He's got a number 2 behind him. But I tell you, I love this offense. I love the play calling of this offensive coordinator / head coach. Some people were nervous last summer that quarterback Sam Darnold could drag down Justin Jefferson's fantasy output. Jefferson finished with 103 catches, 1,533 yards, and 10 touchdowns, and was wide receiver 2 and half-point PPR fantasy scoring. We probably shouldn't worry about a receiver as great as Jefferson being dragged down by a second-year quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, who will see his first regular season action for the Vikings. Notice that the Vikings didn't pull in anybody that would be threatening the starting spot for J.J. McCarthy. How many quarterbacks did Minnesota play with besides Sam Darnold? 3, 4? And J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson thrived with all of them. Maybe not crazy numbers for each one of them, but he thrived with most of them. Okay. Number 4, Saquon Barkley. Now, some people have him at the number 1 pick. I said from the beginning, ain't no way. Last time I was on air, I told you about this. I told you about the extreme amount of carries and 2,000-yard running backs rushing history. It's worrisome that Barkley had 482 touches last season. That's including the playoffs. Maybe he's at greater risk of injury this year after handling such a massive workload. That's what happens. Okay? But it's hard to quantify the risk. What we can judge with a greater degree of certainty is that Barkley is a phenomenal running back. He is. And has a near perfect body, playing with a great offensive line in a run-heavy offense. Now, he may not be able to top 2024 regular season, which he had 2,283 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns. But if he stays healthy, he's a good bet to finish as a top 5 fantasy running back. I have him at number, 4? Yes, number 4. And I may be too high. Okay? And number 5. Gibbs so good that it almost doesn't matter that he shares work with David Montgomery. In his second NFL season, he rolled up 1,929 yards and a league-high 20 touchdowns. He was a monster in the fantasy playoffs when he scored 25.9, 23.4, and 24.3 half-point PPR fantasy points in week 15 to 17. Montgomery was out in week 16 and 17. It was not like Gibbs was a slacker in the fantasy regular season. He averaged 16.9 half PPR fantasy points a game through week 14. There was only one game all season in which Jahmyr Gibbs failed to score double-digit points, and he just barely missed that week with 9.4. Okay? I'm almost inclined to put Gibbs ahead of Barkley. Okay? It's tempting. At number 5, CeeDee Lamb played half the season of the 2025 without Dak Prescott. Half the season. And he still had 101 receptions, almost 1,200 yards, and 6 touchdowns, and half PPR fantasy points. Now he gets Prescott back. And the Cowboys added wide receiver George Pickens should keep defenses from rolling all sorts of coverage help in CeeDee Lamb's direction. Okay. CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to go through these, people, a little quicker because at number 7, Puka Nacua. Had missed 5 early season games with a sprained PCL, but was excellent when healthy, averaged 7.2 catches and 90 yards per game for the season. They let Cooper Kupp go. They brought in Devontae Adams. But Adams' rivals no reason to fade Puka, who's firmly established as the top wide receiver in that offense. Okay? Let's move on to another wide receiver. You see the numbers. He's got a 2. And just think about this. The Giants have the toughest schedule of all teams. The toughest, supposedly toughest schedule of all teams. And he's dealing with 2 new quarterbacks. 3 new quarterbacks, really. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart. Namath drew a whopping 170 targets as a rookie, second in the league behind only Jamar Chase, and finished with 109 catches, 1,204 yards, and 7 touchdowns, despite playing with a bad group of quarterbacks. Okay, the Giants may not have fixed their quarterback position, but at least passed it up by signing Russell and Jameis Winston and drafting Jackson Dart. He's going to demand more targets. I think it's advantageous that he has Russell Wilson, more accurate quarterback, can get him the football when and where he needs it. Number 9, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They too have one of the toughest schedules. But Brown has a 3-star. It's the average. He finished as a wide receiver 3.5 point between each of the last 2 years, but he slipped from 17 points per game in 2023 to 15 points per game in 2024. Even though he scored a career high 12 touchdowns last year and also had a career best catch rate of 81.8%, that's because he averaged 10.3 targets per game in 2023 and only 8.3 targets per game in 2024. And I think that was due to the emergence of Jameson Williams, who was among the reasons for St. Brown's target slippage. Still, he's one of the most stable fantasy investments you can make, but the ceiling might not be quite as high as it was a couple of years ago. I have no problem with anyone lowering Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's the number 1 pick, but I have no problem pushing him even lower. He's number 9, but he may not be. I think the next guy I give you, Nico Collins, should probably be above him. But I have Amon-Ra St. Brown because the Detroit offense with the players that they have, I understand they have a new offensive coordinator, but they should be able to dominate on the offensive side of the ball. That's the only reason why I have Amon at number 9 and Nico at number 10. CJ Stroud needs to step back up. Collins turned in the second consecutive season of 1,000 yards, despite missing 5 games with a hamstring injury. He'll be the alpha receiver in the Houston's offense this season, with a veteran Christian Kirk and rookies Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel as supporting cast members. The 26-year-old Collins is just entering their prime and is a worthy option late in the first round of the 2025 fantasy draft. I expect a healthy Nico Collins to be a strong force in the wide receiver position in fantasy. CJ Stroud needs to step back up again. This may be a surprise for some people. At number 10. The number 6 overall in this year's draft should have an enormous fantasy impact right away. Pete Carroll loves running the football. And that's why they grabbed the number 1 prospect in the running back position in the 2025 draft. Genty is 5'8", 5'9", and a bowling ball. But I'm not a fan. This may be the riskiest. I'll put him up there. But this may be the riskiest pick in the first round that I have. He's fast, has great vision, and his contact balance is out of this world. Gianti is used to handling big workloads after being a heavy-duty back at Boise State, and he adds value as a pass catcher. Raiders offensive coordinator Chip Kelly likes to run his offenses at a brisk pace, and which should benefit Genty and pile up touches. I have no issues with anyone who wants to take Genty in the top half of the first round. You want to take him? Fine. I think he's more of a second round pick, but I have him here because I got him here. Let me put it this way. And I think he warrants it. He's the number 2. So the Raiders in the running back position going to have a tough go. I love this kid. At number 12, I know he's number 12. He ain't resting after his rookie season. He's just getting more excited and more excited for who he is, what he's about. I was surprised. Receivers coach Edgar Bennett said on Thomas, I was surprised because when I first got here, people were telling me, as far as you know, the way he carries himself, his demeanor, very quiet and confident, but on the game day, he's different. He's different. And I love that about him. Saw that instantly. Thomas will look to pick up where he left off season as now he gets Trevor Lawrence back healthy. He has a number 4 rating. He's above average, people. Above average. Okay? Above average. And let me see where see if I can find it real quick. The Jaguars are in the middle of the pack. They're in the middle of the pack. Strength of schedule. So playing in the AFC South in middle of the pack with a quarterback that's healthy and Brian Thomas, who played with and without Trevor Lawrence, should be advantageous. All right, people. You see 13. Let me just give you 13 to 24. Lad McConkey. Oh, no, excuse me. Derrick Henry with a 4. Devon A-Chain, CMC. I'm telling you, CMC is a second round pick. Okay. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Some people disagree. That's fine. That's fine. Second round pick to me. Drake London, Brock Bowers, A.J. Brown, Jonathan Taylor, and Bucky Irving. The last 2 have a 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Okay. And then you have Ladd McConkey, Trey McBride. Trey McBride, the only tight end, the only player that has a 5 way above average stars. Remember that come draft time. He's got the most favorable schedule of any tight end in fantasy football. Most favorable, not Brock Bowers, not George Kittle, not Travis Kelce, Trey McBride. Remember that. Remember that. Keep an eye on that. He may be a steal down third round, second round, or late second round. Okay? If you want to go that route. If you want to take a tight end in the second round. That's up to you. All right, people. I have concluded a long, and I hope there's a lot of information I gave you. Strength of schedule. Strength of schedule in the rankings I gave you for each player that I had in the rankings. Strength of high offense, top 10 offense that was in 24 and 25. And strength of schedule in 25 with the teams with the easiest, top 10 hardest. A lot of information. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully you enjoyed what I had to push out for you. With that being said, be well for the rest of the week. And I have to say, we're out of here. See ya.